Kyle.
What's going on, David?
Hey,
Good morning,
Kyle.
everybody.
Let me see you, Kyle. I want to see you. I came for you.
No, you're going to be disappointed then.
I have a feeling I won't be.
There.
Oh, there's my boy. Yeah. Woo. Woo.
Of course, you have a red microphone.
It's like a lightsaber.
Yeah. Okay. So that makes you feel better about it.
Called the Red Rocket.
Okay, guys. Well, there's only a few of us, but while we're waiting to start, anybody have any questions about anything? No title questions for David?
Now's your chance. I just finished a Zoom title presentation. Yeah, give it to me. Give it to me now. Let me see who's on here. Wendy, fire away. Jesus, have at it. Virginia, oh, Gigi. I love you, Gigi.
Oh,
You know,
virtual hug, my friend.
when
Virtual
I
hug.
say that on Facebook too, you know I mean it too. I'm not even joking. I'm not
Of
trying to.
course.
No. I love you, and I'm not afraid to say it to everyone.
Oh, you're a doll. You are a doll. Love your office. Wow.
Oh, thanks.
Little bit of everything in there.
Yeah, Baby Yoda, Gladiator,
For good luck.
Thanos.
That's awesome.
Yeah, look at this is my Thanos look when I'm feeling
That is
frisky.
awesome. Jeez. Definitely your toys.
Nerd alert! I know.
Yeah. It's like a child got grown up money.
Someone, hey, yeah, say what you want. That's probably the best investment I've ever made in my career. I'm just gonna say that.
All right. Well, it looks like Tristan's on now. So do you want me to turn it over to you, David, to get everything started?
Tristan. Hey, without further ado, obviously Tristan is the bomb, the rock star. We're all here for him. Last meeting was phenomenal. This meeting will be nothing less than phenomenal. So I give you, without further ado, Tristan Ahumada.
Thank you. Gracias, David.
De nada, campeón.
So how much time do we got here so I don't go over?
Kyle's the boss.
Well, you got at least an hour. So
All right, perfect. I'll probably go about 30 minutes and then we'll have some questions possibly.
Okay. All right.
We'll do that. All right, let me see if I've got some documents here to share with you.
Joey, you got to text me, Joey. I haven't received a text 2 weeks now for those keeping track at home.
What's going on in the background, David? What's this?
I'll give you the background. Joey is going to be an absolute sensation in real estate. I am Joey's quiet accountability partner. Joey normally texts me every morning to let me know how he's going to kick some ass for the day. And unfortunately, I haven't heard from Joey. So I need your text, Joey. Fire away.
Joey, text David. All right, I got you. I saw you nodding your head, so I'm going to take a yes. All right, here we go. Let's get started. This week, I was talking to my leadership team for both lab code agents, for my consulting and my businesses, and obviously real estate and brokerage. And I was talking about creating a sense of urgency. Now, before we dive into what that looks like, I need you to understand two things. And I wrote about this too in the newsletter that I sent out. And that's complacency and false urgency. And I think a lot of agents and a lot of salespeople, just people in general, you find that you're in this comfortable position, and that's complacency because you don't move forward. It's a feeling of contentment or self-satisfaction. That's what it is. And false urgency, I mean, you can kind of guess what that is. It's you're active, but you're not productive. How many people do you know are saying, oh yeah, I had a busy day today. I'm like, what'd you do? I checked my email. I walked the dog. I cleaned my desk. It looks great now. And I took out the trash and I talked to my mom. That was a really good conversation. And I mean, that's what it looks like. That is false urgency. You're active, but it's not productive. What the hell is it producing? So the challenge with complacency is that it usually stems from a feeling of accomplishments that don't mean much. And the challenge with that is that you don't have your priorities set. And that comes down to you not understanding what your priorities are. So let me help you. And this is the conversation that I had with my leadership team. Priorities are three things, and then you can break it down into however you want. There are three simple things. It starts with the self, family, and business. And here's how I break it down. With self, we can go into spiritual, physical, mental, right? The self, you take care of yourself. Priority number one. Priority number two is family. It can be your siblings, spouse, friends, family. And then work. Now that looks different for all of us. This is where we have to dig in and say, well, what does that look like business-wise? What do I want to accomplish in my business? And we'll get into that a little bit more. I just need you to understand that those are the priorities you need to have. Everything else needs to fall away on the side and be like, that is not a priority. The thing is, we convince ourselves that all this other stuff, all these accomplishments that we have, they mean something. And when you look up complacency,
I'll take your bait. So what do you do throughout your day? You're one of the busiest dudes I know. How do you make sure that you're staying focused on the important tasks of your own career? Right.
Dude, that is a really good question. Yeah. And I've outlined it for you because I knew you would ask. See? You took the bait. I love it, David. Well, but look, you look up the word, if you can, whenever you can, look up the word complacency. And it's going to be self-satisfaction, especially when accompanied by unawareness. Check that out. Unawareness of actual dangers or deficiencies. Like, you don't know that you suck. You just don't know. Like, you're walking around and you're like, this is awesome. I'm happy where I'm at. But that's the problem. And the thing is, complacency is usually rooted in what psychologists refer to as confirmation bias. And that's this. You tend to look at things or information that you receive in a way that confirms what you already believe. I mean, look at politics right now. Look at Democrats and look at Republicans. This was rigged, this wasn't. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Right? All these biases. You've already decided what you want to believe. So forget the information, forget facts. And this is how you're living your life, though. That's the problem. Because every time you get a lead, you're like, oh, leads suck. That's how you're leading. Every time you're calling your past clients, oh, they never pick up. Well, guess what? They don't pick up. Every time you have an opportunity, you say, oh, well, this isn't my year. 2020 has just been terrible. Of course it has. You're confirming your beliefs. Psychologists call that confirmation bias, and we all have it at different levels.
Self-fulfilling prophecy. Yep.
Exactly, dude. That's the thing, right? Now, when you couple that with false urgency, that gets even worse. Because here's where you never really progress on what's important in your life, because you've never taken the time to figure out, well, what's urgent? What's going to get me to that next level? Right? Like for example, focusing on responding to emails sometimes over calling your past clients, your sphere, or going into social media when you've already been there all day, you're just even stuck more. Like you're going into this hole of TikTok or anything else that looks important, but it really doesn't fall into your priorities. Now, the challenge, and it happens to all of us, right? The challenge comes from being heavily bombarded by the information all around us, social media, news, friends, family, everybody. And the thing is, we have up to 70,000 thoughts in a day. That's a ton. This is why we get so distracted and people say, oh, I have ADD, right? And they've actually somehow convinced themselves that they have this attention deficit disorder, right? The fact is you just can't focus. You've never trained yourself to focus. You've never taken the time to create the habit of focusing. This is why ADD exists. Because we get so bombarded for everything. We're like, that looks awesome. This is cool. I want that. I'm not there yet because I don't have. And that's the false urgency. Right? Now, here's the thing. You start creating a better life for yourself depending on the questions that you ask yourself. Right? That's how the brain decides what thoughts to let in from those 70,000 thoughts in a day. You create better questions, and those start determining a better life for you. But the thing is, some of us don't even know what to ask because we're still hanging around the same people that we were last year. We're still stuck on that same book for 2 years on page 12. We're still doing the same things we were like 20 years ago, and we're expecting it to work. So here's the thing. I've outlined this for you. I created these 9 steps to help you. And these are based on things that I currently do, that I've watched other great, amazing, successful people do. And I've itemized these for you so you can write them down, pay attention, and start engaging in this process. The number one thing that I look for is saying, well, why don't you take a step back and think about what your mission is? What's your mission? Why are you here? Why are you even doing this? And if you think the simplest terms, when you look at a business and you say, well, what's the mission of that business? It's like, what do they stand for now? Who are they? Now I'm going to ask, who are you? Who do you serve? What problems are you solving? What are you delivering to your clients, to your family, to yourself? What's your mission? What does that look like? I don't think you take the time to reflect and say, well, what is it that I stand for? What do I do? Because when it gets hard, you go back to your mission. You go back to what you stand for that pushes you through, right? And we've all had bad times. We're human. We share that. It just happens to us at different times. But what keeps you in it is what you stand for. Why are you doing this? Take the time to write that down.
I think we should start with Roger. Roger, why are you doing this?
Ooh, Roger, let's pick on you, buddy. Unmute yourself, though.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Thank you, David.
And I want to hear from Roger. Go on.
I appreciate that. I just find this interesting, to be honest with you. That's why I'm doing this. I don't have this big why. I don't have a family. I just find it interesting. I like learning. So thank you. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Value and very insightful questions. I appreciate it.
I love that. Thanks, Roger. Roger, it gets better. Don't worry. So with that, let's go into vision. And to simplify it, when I look at other companies and they say, well, how do I identify the vision? What is the vision? And I say, well, it's simple. It's the future. Who do you aspire to be? As a company, what do you aspire to be? Who do you want to serve? What problems do you want to solve in the future? You see, the difference between a mission and a vision is now versus the future, right? That's the simplest way you can think of both so that you can apply them to you. And if you think of yourself and you say, well, since my priorities revolve around self, family, business, how does my future self look like? How does my future family look like? And how does my future business look like? What does that look like? Because if you're just living life like just happy where you're at, thinking that that's the way you progress, let me tell you something. You're dying. You're not growing, then you're dying. Because we're all here to better ourselves daily so that those around us can benefit from that. We have a duty to each other that's unspoken. And I don't think you remember that on a daily basis. I do, because I'm bombarded by thousands and thousands of people that if I would do something that would be negative, it would affect them. And if I do something positive, it affects them too. And you do and have the same power as well. But you don't realize it. The people watching your actions, what you're doing, the smallest things, people are paying attention. How do you think children learn all around us? Do you think my children learn by me telling them, no, don't do that? That was wrong. But me, they're watching me do something. That's how they learn. That's how we learn. This is how we grow. And so you look at that vision and you say, who do you aspire to be? Then, number 3, you start strategizing. Now, strategizing is kind of like setting goals, right? There's a lot of steps to this, but you create a goal based on something that you desire, which is set on your 3 priorities, right? Self, family, business. And you set a timeline for it. Now, one of the people that I talk to often is Gary Keller, because I have that background of Keller. But he said this that was interesting. He said, look, man, we have these goals and you always set a time for them, but you'll realize that it's always going to take you a little bit longer to accomplish them. And I think that sometimes demoralizes us that we set a goal for like a year, but it was really a 3-year goal and you didn't know. And I think that's where we have to be patient with ourselves. And we're not. This is because we have this fake interpretation of what life should be like based on who we're looking at. And one of the people we interviewed at the very beginning of COVID, and we ended up becoming friends, is Michael Meadler, obviously president, CEO of C21. And that interview, the first interview that we did with him, we asked him, like, how do you stay so focused and positive? And it came down to him surrounding himself with the right people. And that's what it comes down to for you. So when you strategize, do me a favor, in one of those goals, have that be who you're surrounding yourself with. Because you shouldn't hang out with people, books, movies, music, that's just going to bring you down. Everything affects us. And I don't think we take time to realize that all of those things affect us. So when you're writing your goals down, be specific, have a timeline, and be okay that you don't reach it at a certain time. Now, here's where it gets difficult, because we're not used to this part. Because all of us are used to getting to that new year and being, oh yeah, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to go to, well, I can't go to the gym, so I'm just going to work out at home, right? I'm going to eat better. I'm going to be happier. I'm going to read 50,000 books in a year, all this great stuff, right? But it takes actions, and we've got to break these actions down into steps, which is number 4. Your vision and your mission determine what your actions are going to be, right? Because who you aspire to be, who you are now, who you're serving, the problems you're solving right now, and the problems you want to solve in the future, those are all driving you to who you're becoming and who you are. So I need you, when it comes down to actions, to focus and say, okay, I got it. Let's use a financial one. And I'll give you an example. Let's use a financial one and say, I want to make $200,000 in 2021. Then you start with your strengths. Where did I close transactions from in the last year? Or if you're new to the business, what am I great at already? And I'll tell you, me coming into real estate, I had an experience of I was a cold caller. I'd pick up the phone and I was a dialer. I'd sold Windows, ink cartridges, you name it, I sold it. And I got used to people hanging up on me super fast. I didn't know real estate was the same thing. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Hey, Tristan, I don't want to put you too much off track, but do you do SWOT analysis for yourself?
We do, man.
Okay, good.
Definitely.
Okay,
We do.
I think that's a fantastic, opportunity for everyone to self-reflect.
That is, and I'll go into that a little bit, David. So if you are looking to break down your action steps, let's say you want to farm, like we did this when we were breaking into Malibu. So thanks, David.
Yeah.
We did a SWOT analysis in Malibu, and that's where we identified the top agents in the area. I found Chris Cortazza owned 28% of the market, right? And that's insane because there's 30 homes sold in Malibu on a month-to-month basis. He was selling 28% of those. This is why he owns like 12 different homes in Malibu, right on the beach. The guy's a multimillionaire, right? And he's a real estate agent. And so the more I dug into him, because I'm doing a SWOT analysis, I'm finding his strengths. I'm like, damn, this guy's connected to every celebrity that I want to meet, right? But then as I keep going, I'm finding out, well, what are the opportunities?
That's right.
And then I go online and I'm like, wait a second, he has no presence on Google, right? And I'm like, that's where I'm going all in. And that's how I got in, because I did a SWOT analysis, right? I found weaknesses. I even identified the weaknesses that I have. Well, like I don't have a great connection. I didn't live in Malibu, and I didn't know anybody in Malibu. There was no office for me in Malibu. I'm like, there's a lot of weaknesses.
Okay, so
Right.
You start there. Tell me about where you're at now. I just want to give, I know the answer, but still give everyone a preview of
Yeah, well,
adjusting
I'll
your
give you an
focus to
example.
where you want to be.
Well, we thought, well, where do we want to be? Let's start farming there. Let's start going all in on Google. And we did. And now, I mean, we just closed a $10.5 million deal on the beach. We helped out one of the owners of the Philadelphia Eagles who wanted to move to Malibu. He just bought it. And we're in escrow to purchase Matthew Perry's home from Friends, Chandler.
Yeah.
13.1 million. We're in escrow in that one. So
Kyle will love that one.
Kyle, where's Kyle at?
Huge
There you
Friends
go.
fan. Huge Friends fan.
So that's the whole plan. You see, it's a SWOT analysis, but it didn't take me a year. I was like, oh man, this is taking a lot longer and a lot more money, because remember, I'm farming in Malibu, than I anticipated. But I stuck with it, and I grew the idea and morphed it and changed it and pivoted. That was the thing, right? And so when you're creating this action plan, here's the thing. You usually stop at the goal. I want to make 200,000 in a year, and that's it. And that's the problem with goals. I need to know how you're going to get there. And so do you. This is where you draw a little map and you're like, okay, what are the actions? Let's see. Let's start with my strengths, right? Well, I'm going to take you through me. I'm good on the phone, right? I've been on the phone since I was 14 years old dialing. I'm good on the phone. All right, that's good. I hate meeting people in person. Okay, let's scratch that off. I'm not going to do that one, right? But I'm great on the phone. So I guess I need to surround myself with better quality agents. If they're going to be the ones that are going to be meeting people, I'm going to lock in the appointments. They're going to meet them, right? And I'm really great at marketing. So why don't I start a campaign on farming and outline the whole thing? And I'm amazing online. So let's go all in on Google. And then after that, I broke it down into smaller and smaller pieces. Here's the challenge though. Again, you just have a goal. You don't have a plan. Let me bust out the blueprint I have, and I'll share this with you, David.
This is important because again, there's a lot of agents on this call right now, and you might be looking at Northeast Downey, right? You might be looking at Friendly Hills in Whittier. And so again, this is an important exercise that we can see, okay, where we are now, where do we want to get to? And then you start pulling up. I would do exactly what you did. I would pull up, okay, who are the top agents in these areas? What are they good at? What are they weak at? And identify their weaknesses and expose them. You fill that void. So
you have to go all in, David. You can't just half-ass this because it doesn't work.
Yeah.
No.
I love that.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I created this. This is mine. This is my creation based on talking to, a whole bunch of leaders, and then also testing it out with them. So the first 2 pages, and I'll send this over to you, David, but the first 2 pages are your goals. I outlined the priorities. Those are things that are going to be ongoing. Like my priority is health. I'm always going to have it up here, right? What does that look like? And it's always changing because my health, as it changes, I need to continually adapt. Same thing with family. I'm always trying to do better and better, right? That change is very specific. And then business overall. Now goals, here's where you can start writing your goals individually, like exact goals. Like I want to make a certain amount of money, right? I want to read a certain amount of books. I want to find a mentor or whatever you want to do. I have 2 pages full of it. So you can write. Now here's where it gets good. This is what I created so that I could stay on target. And I fill this out for every single major goal that I have. And so here's the goal. First I write, is it a physical, intellectual, blah, 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 check financial. Let's put your goal here, write it out. Let's say with David, I'm going to do the 200,000 by the end of December 31st, 2021, right? Why is this important to you? Again, this is what's going to take you through that because it's not going to be easy. This is why this is important. Why is this important to you? Because if you don't write down why it's important, you're not going to make it because it's going to get hard. And if it gets too hard and you quit, it wasn't important enough for you. It just wasn't. This is really important to identify, go deep. Like it's not about the money. It's about other things. What does that do for you? What does that do for your family? How do people then perceive you? What kind of confidence does that give you? Does it change your world? How? Does it allow you to have other opportunities? How? You have to go deep in here. And then what problem are you solving? Usually this is one and the same. With big companies, there are problems they're solving. So I have that in there. You can skip that or you can combine those, either one. Here's where it gets fun. You create 3 strategies for this one goal. So let's go through this. If I wanted to break into Malibu, one of my strategies was farming. The other one was Google pay-per-click, right? PPC, Google PPC, farming. And then the other one was we went online and retargeting through Dare ads when we took out some data we went to RedX and grabbed all that data and then retargeted them with a different message. So it was a little deeper. Those are the 3 things, but I want to go deeper into this. This is where it gets fun because I just wrote farming. That means absolutely nothing to my brain because it's farming. It can mean so many different things. If I say, David, we're going to go farming, be like, okay. But here's your opportunity to break it down so that you can put it into your schedule. This is the key. You write farming right here. And then you put A. Well, what's the first thing that I'm going to do with farming? Well, let's see. Since I've already done it in the past, I can tell you. If you don't know, then you hit up David or you hit up me, right? Whatever it is, David's there to help you out. So you go to David and be like, okay, I'm farming, David, but what do I do? Well, the first thing is you need to identify the farm area. And since you're starting off, don't go over 1,000 people that you're going to mail to. Maybe 500 is where you want to start. So start with 500 homes in a farm area. That's step number 1, right? And have my title person give me those areas. And that's due in a week. Now you can go put it on your calendar. Now you have B. What's the message that I want to deliver for the whole year? I need to outline that whole thing because I'm not going to leave it to chance to be like, well, this month, I think I'm going to do this. This is a good one. And then, next month, I don't know, but when it comes, I'll kind of think about it then. That's the quickest way to fail. So B is going to be outline the whole year and how it looks. And then if you're going to do farming, just let me know. David's got the whole thing outlined. So we'll just give it to you. But if you don't, you're going to write it out. You're going to be like, got it. When is this due? Well, this is probably due in a month because I have to outline either monthly or send it out twice a month, right? That's B. That's how it's going to look. And then C, start designing those templates. Design templates with Design Company, right? And put that into your calendar. You see the difference between you outlining what you're going to do versus just a goal? Your goal sucks. if it doesn't have this. Your goal is just like something you wish for. If you don't have these action steps that you're going to take on a weekly, daily basis, this is where we fail. Every time I see it, every time with agents that I coach, with companies that I consult, that simple process I took you through makes the difference between you succeeding and you not. Now, after you grab, I'm still old school, but you grab this and you put it all in here so your day is full. You have breaks in there and it's led with priorities. But what are your priorities? You know what your priorities are. And if you don't outline them, you're never going to get there, ever. You may hit one or two lucky here and there, and that's it. Now that you've got that outlined, the next thing you have to do, we're barely on 5, and I've got 9 for you. You've got to listen. You have to listen to your customers because they're telling you what they want and what they need.
Hey Tristan, can you
Sure.
touch on some of your personal action items? You know, again,
Sure.
when you again, you're attacking Malibu, right? What does that attack look like? Where have you found your most success? Is it Google? Is it, you know, social
The combination.
media ads?
So I broke into Malibu primarily through, out of everything I was doing, because mailing took so long to break in with. That took longer than I thought. But I broke the quickest in with Google because nobody was on there. When I did the SWOT analysis, nobody was on there. Now if you go to Google, type in Malibu homes for sale, we're going to pop up 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4 times because I'm paying for it, right?
Yeah.
I pay thousands of dollars a month for it because the return on investment is so high for me. And you look at that, and I'm okay paying thousands of dollars a month because we just closed a deal that was a commission check of $262,000, right? Because of Google PPC. So it just depends on your area, right? It depends on what you want to do. So great question, David. But I think one thing that you have to do is when you're going with a plan and you know that other agents are succeeding with something similar at a high level, don't give up on it. Like if I'm telling you Google PPC works, it works. If it doesn't work for you, that means you're probably doing something not right. And you have to get the right person to help you out with that. Same with farming. I didn't know what I was doing at all with farming. So I hit up the #1 real estate agent in Westlake Village, Mark Tyron. And I go, dude, you've been mailing for how long? 30 years. And so I go, okay, that's a long time. He's like, yeah, you know, exact conversation. He goes, this business is so easy, Tristan, when it comes to what you need to do. But people just don't believe it's that easy, and they're not consistent. That's the key. He goes, I've been mailing for so long, people just call me and leave keys underneath the mat. He deals with multimillionaires and says, hey, Mark, can you stop by and check out the inside of my home? Tell me if the paint is right because we need to put this home on the market. There is no, hey, I'm interviewing 4 or 5 different agents, right? This is more like, here's the key. Tell me what I need to do and list my home. He's one agent with one assistant, and he does like almost 100 million a year. One agent, one assistant. He's been doing this for 30 years. You can look him up. His name is Mark Tyron out of Westlake Village. So the key is the consistency part, David. This is why it kills me when people start doing something amazing, but then they quit.
Hey, so after you create this action plan, what are some of the things that you do with the actual action plan to make sure that you stay on track, to make sure you just don't do it once and then boof, it goes in your drawer and then you're done? How do you stay focused on that?
The key is, one, putting it into that sheet, right? And then from there, those action plans, I put them into my calendar, right? I use a written calendar. As techie as I am, I always go back to this.
Nice. I
put it in there and I know when I'm going to do it, what my priority is for the day, and I allot a certain amount of time for it. So every day I've got, like right after this call, I got the webinar, but right after the webinar, an hour set for one of my priorities, right? And that's, I'm going to go deep into this priority, work on it. And I know I've at least chiseled some of it off so that I can get ready for the next one. But you've got to set time for it. A lot of us just don't put it in our calendar at all. Right? So good question, man. Good question. Now going back to listening, here's where it becomes a challenge, because we have all these people around us that tell us, that think they know what's best for us. And sometimes it becomes a challenge because we have these people that don't understand our business. They haven't reached the promised land, right? And they're telling you what you should do in your business because they're seeing it a certain way. And you have to be really careful with these people, because some of these people just chat you up, they talk to you, and then they complain, and then they move on and to their next target, because all they're looking for is support. Like if it was me and I'm talking to David and I'm so negative, I'm like, David, oh my gosh, business sucks, doesn't it? It's terrible. Did you see that agent over there? How does he get, I don't know what the hell that agent's doing over there, but, and so that goes in a circle, because now he touched David. Now I'm going to go to, let's say, Joey, and do the exact same thing. Right. And so you have to be really careful as to who these people are. And sometimes, unfortunately, sometimes it can be people that are close to you. It could be people that, it could be siblings, it could be family, it could be friends. And that's when it becomes a real challenge, right? That's when it comes up to you and say, what do you want to do with your life? Do you really want that around you? And if you have to have it around you because they're family, then I suggest you read and learn, push that brain of yours to another level so that it can withstand whatever is going to get hit when it's going to get hit, because it's going to get hit. You can see it. You can see it right now. Go on social media. All these people complaining about the election going one way or another. You can see people freaking out. I don't care. I don't care. Donald or Biden, whoever you voted for, I don't care. I need you to have that same mentality. I need you to say, hey, look, who's taking care of me? Who's taking care of my family? Who's doing that? It falls on you.
Who's taking care of the dogs?
Nobody. The dog said hello to you.
That's right.
So I think we get so distracted so easily because we're not spending enough time investing in ourselves and our minds. Like, what are you doing on your spare time? What do you do when you wake up? Do you go on this thing and go to the news? Do you go on social? I'll tell you what I did this morning. First thing I do, I went to a podcast I had saved. Tim Ferriss and Seth Godin. That's the first thing I listened to for 40 minutes. What did I do after? I jumped on the Peloton and I ran for 45 minutes. What did I do after that? I went through my morning routine and I set my mind right, which is what we're going to get into really quick. At no point did I see or have time for any news. Media is designed for one thing, to get eyes on it so they can sell space. That's it.
That's right.
And so I want you to focus on reading, finding the right books, the right articles, the right podcasts, the right webinars, people that can motivate you to do better, because you can look at this life in one or two ways. You can look at it as an opportunity, or you can look at it as a place to complain. And so next, this one we don't do enough of, and that's 7. It's research. The world that we live in allows us to search for things online and find answers pretty quickly. specifically other people who have had success. And if you're looking to succeed in your business, I mean, you could go to your brokerage, you can go to David to find out what other people are doing that is actually working. But I don't think we take the time to document it and write it down and say, okay, well, let's actually take this, let's take this seriously for a minute and identify what are those things that this person had to do to get to where they're at. And what do I need to do to get to where I want to get to? Am I committed enough? Because if you are, there's a path for you, and it's not going to be easy, but there is a path. And that's when it comes down to you. Are you serious about this? Because it's not just about this. Are you serious about bettering yourself? Because that's where it all starts. You talk to the greatest leaders, people that care, people that lead with kindness. I'm not talking about people that are just financially successful. I'm talking about people that are successful in all three realms, right? Self, family, and business. What does that look like to get there? It takes a lot of work, consistent shifting and pivoting. And it starts with themselves, knowing that if they don't work on themselves first, then everything else is just not going to fly. You can be amazing at one thing. Like you can have all the money in the world. And I know these people, you can have all the money in the world and be absolutely sad inside to the point that you don't want to live anymore. And this is why it takes a balance of all three. And that's up to you, because if you're not working on yourself on a daily basis, nobody else is. If you're pointing a finger saying it's somebody else's fault because you're not there, never going to fix anything. And so it comes down to this. This is number 8 and then number 9. But number 8 is this. Think of yourself as, let's take, for example, an airplane. When you're getting in an airplane, it's got to get ready. There's like a checklist of like 190 or 200 things that the pilot's got to check. Check, got this. All right. The engine's running. Thank God that works, right? There's a lot of things they have to get ready. And when it lands and parks, it's the exact same thing. It's got to wind down. It's the same thing for everything in existence. So I'm asking you, what are you doing in the morning to get ready? And what are you doing in the evening to wind down? Because if you don't take time to set yourself up right for the morning, you're just diving in and you're going to be reactionary to everything. It's like Joe comes to you and you'll be like, hey, what's up, Joe? Oh, you want to talk about nothing? Awesome. Let's talk about nothing. Oh, I got a phone call over here. Let's see who's available. You're going to play like phone roulette and be like, who should I call today? Let's see. Oh, let's just call my mom. Hi, Mom. Right? There's nothing wrong with calling your mom. I'm just saying your day's just going to be all messed up and it's going to be like, what's the plan? If you never get ready, you're just going to be living life that way.
So you touched on your morning routine. Touch on your evening routine. What's your routine prior to going to bed? Right, Jose? Jose just gave me a thumbs up. You see, I'm on the right track.
Dude, you're on the right track. I'll give you the morning one really quick. Actually, hold on. I'll pop it up because you guys will probably want to see this.
And now that Luther's here, Luther, what's your morning routine?
What's up,
I want to know.
All right, let me see. Yeah, Luther, you're on mute.
There he is. There he is.
I was on a phone call. I'm sorry. I had to take that, so I didn't hear what you guys.
While Tristan's pulling it up, man, what's your morning routine? I want to know.
Oh man, I got my kids to wake up earlier so I can spend time with them. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be to leave, both for me, but they don't want me to leave. I'm gonna post a video. My little girls are just like clinging. But no, the routine is just waking up, focusing on my gratitude, pray, and then I get into working out and I listen to just mindset improvement while I'm working out, and a little bit of progressive house music. I throw it in there when I need it in the last couple of reps. But yeah, I get that. What Tristan's talking about is so important. I'd love for you to share some of the other podcasts, because podcasts is what I continuously listen to. I got the two, Seth and Tim Ferriss. So any other ones you can share would be appreciated.
Oh, dude, definitely. I'll get into that. Let me just pop open really quick. The latest one I have for the morning and evening really quick so we can see this.
And Tristan, not sure if it's like that for you, but I'm constantly like falling off and getting back on.
All the time, buddy.
Do you have that challenge?
100%. Anybody that tells you otherwise is lying to your face.
And Tristan, you just said my latest one. So how often do you update your routines? It just depends on the day or the night. Or
so good question. I'm always tweaking it only because I talk to so many different leaders. And if I find that there was something slight that I'm missing, I change it. And I'll share with you right now what I have. I just changed this one a month and a half ago, but it wasn't a big change. It was a tweak. I'll go the morning, then I'll go to the evening one, and then I'll answer your question, Luther, about podcasts.
Got it.
So I have everything here, morning, evening, and then the weekend, but I'm going to go to the morning really quick. I created these from scratch, so you won't find these anywhere else, except I'll send it to David. This is the morning portion is what I get through. Sometimes, I don't know who asked the question if I fall off the horse. Was that you, Luther? Oh,
yes.
Okay. All right, Jose. Yeah, I do. Sometimes I track how often I get through this. I'm consistent like 4 out of the 7 days of the week, right? That's as best as I can get. There are some days I do 7, but not often. And then sometimes I don't even answer these questions, right? That I've created based on what other leaders have told me to ask myself on a daily basis. So I do my best to get through this. And you can see here, this is that thing I added. 10-minute morning is italicized. I created a quick version because sometimes I fall off the horse and I'm like, oh, damn, I'm behind. Okay, but I need to do this. So I either meditate or pray. And I created an acronym called MARVEL for this. So it's meditate or pray. Then I do affirmations or incantations, whatever you want to call it, 1 minute if I'm in a hurry, right? Record the previous day. I think this is important because then you start looking at being grateful. You're like, okay, what happened yesterday? What did I do? Oh, this is cool. Really quick. Visualize. This is where I go through the 3 things really quick if I have to. If I have a little bit more time, I love this one. And that's self, family, business. I go, okay, how am I doing with myself, spiritually, mentally, physically? How am I doing with my family, my wife, my kids? And how am I doing with my businesses, right? And what happens is the mind, because it's already filtering out what the most important things are through the reticular activating system, it knows what you should focus on. You just have to ask yourself, and I can guarantee you every day you'll be like, oh, yeah, I do need to just spend a little bit more time with my kids. My daughter, yeah, I could see that. And then you gravitate to that visually, and then you ask yourself, well, what do I need to do today to fix that? What would that look like if I started today? What would that look like a month from now? And then I extend it to 6 months and I say, well, if I started to fix that today, where do I want it to be 6 months from now? Right. And that question has really helped me pinpoint changing a better thing. Next, if I'm in a hurry, I usually exercise morning, middle of the day, and evening. But this, if for any reason I've got to exercise, I do 10 push-ups or 20, 30, however many you want to do, just really quick to get the mind connected to the body. Because like Tony Robbins says, psychology is connected to physiology, right? And it's true, it is. And then lastly, if I'm in a hurry, I grab an excerpt from a book. I have the Daily Stoic. That's what I usually gravitate to. And I read an excerpt. It takes me less than 3 minutes. That's if I need to do my speed morning, right? And then if I've got time, obviously I meditate a little longer. Meditation is really good for those people who have ADD, by the way. Helps you learn how to focus correctly. Affirmations can usually they don't go for more than 5 minutes unless I'm creating a new affirmation. Record previous day, that usually takes 5 minutes normally. Visualizing will take you probably the longest out of all of these, and reading. Exercise, depending if you've got it in the morning, like Luther says he was working out. if you've got the workout in the morning, that's going to take up 30 minutes to an hour, right? So
I got to tell you, man, this is gold, dude. Again, you're not committing to, hey, let me commit 2 hours of my morning here.
no.
I mean, anyone can do this. Every single one of us can do this. And I guarantee you, it was probably life-changing for you to commit to this. So it's 10 minutes. I love it.
Not if you're doing 10 push-ups. You got to do more than that.
Oh, I didn't want to show off.
That's a push-up a minute, baby.
I'm push-up a minute. No, I usually do about 70 without stop, and then I try to do another set. That's what I usually do.
Nice. Hey, can I add something that I learned from you, Tristan?
Shoot.
One of the things I needed to work more on and focus was to enjoy the ride, be nice to people. So be nice and have fun. So whether you fall off of you call it a horse, I think you're on a bull. Some of us are on a pony, whatever. When you fall off, don't forget to just recognize what you did accomplish, have fun, be nice to people, get back on, do it again. That's
so true, man. Luther, that's right on, man. And sometimes I wish like I had a little bit more time set for this, because like I said, I created this and I don't even follow it every day. I average about 4 days a week consistently. And when I get to this one right here, this is my favorite one. That's why it has a little heart. Because it goes with what Luther was saying. It's like, who can I thank by text, a call, a video message, social media, or a letter? And so often it's been my wife and my kids right there. And to watch my kids open up a little letter that I sent to them is like amazing to me.
That's powerful, man. That's very powerful.
Yeah, that is my favorite thing. The other ones are really good too. So I'll send this over to you, David, so you can take a look at it. It's my latest one for the morning. And here's the evening. Evening I found is by far more challenging. Jose, if you thought morning was challenging, forget it. Evening is like, it's just even more challenging. This took me a long time to get into a routine, because I first I didn't realize how important it was to set up your following day the day before. And when you do that, you have so much more clarity and so much more consistency on the following day. But it takes a lot of commitment. And I've narrowed it down. This is what I added, the 15 minutes, because that's as fast as I could get it done without losing the integrity of the process. And so I start with plan for tomorrow. I need to outline, if you're not a planner, I need you to at least look and say, okay, what do I have tomorrow? What's important, right? That's important to outline because it creates clarity. Next, review what happened today. It's important to go back through the day and look and say, well, what did I do, right? And as you're looking through, you're like, ooh, I could have done that better. Oh, you know what? I'm really thankful for that. I totally forgot about that. And it just happened, right? Again, exercise. I love to wind down by connecting the body and the mind. I usually gravitate to push-ups, but you could do sit-ups. You could do jumping jacks really quick, a minute, right? I always go to fail. Jose, if you're going to do push-ups, just go to fail, right? However that looks. Then P is for play, watch, and listen. If you don't have a lot of time and you're like winding down, you're like, oh crap, I'm all work and no play. Well, what can you listen to really quick that can relax you? Just mind. A lot of us gravitate to our phone, play a little game. I got a few friends that write music and they just love listening to music. So they just jump in loud and relax. I gravitate to playing, and it's not going to last 4 minutes. I can tell you that. I gravitate to playing with my kids, and I go and play Minecraft, right? Or we watch something together, and that's how I play. Affirmations, I again do my evening affirmations. I have a whole set of those just for the evening. And then next, I reflect on my actions. This gets a little painful for me because there's a question right below here. This is, were any of my actions guided by any strong emotions, anger, hate, sadness, selfishness, pride, or envy? And, that has been tough on me because I realized early on, like, I need to identify where I'm not doing well, and I need to fix that. And so reflecting on those actions that's the toughest one for me right there, truthfully, right here. Because I look back and I'm like, oh man, that was bad. I'll give you an example. I did this last night, and I knew exactly what it was before I got there, and I was not happy about doing this. And then I just turned over to my wife as I'm writing this. I'm like, hey, how was I today towards you? And she looked at me like, you were kind of mean at some point. I'm like, I know exactly what it was. I know the conversation we had, and it's totally my fault. I go, I don't know what was up. I'm so sorry. But that reflection helps you change. It helps you realize that you're a jerk. So next, embrace the night. I end with that because sometimes we just need to take a deep breath and be like, you know what? I can't do anything else. That's it. I'm done. I'm thankful that where I'm at. I've done what I can, especially if you're going through this process and you're like, got it. I understand. I've done what I can. And I'm just going to embrace the night. That's it. I'm going to call it a night and then just chill. And then you go through the questions. That's the process I've got for you. And then the last one, number 9, you need to schedule your priorities and take action. A lot of us just don't put them into our calendar. We just don't. And that's the massive, massive failure that we have. We expect, I have a friend.
Just to chime in real quick, everyone's going to get this. Everyone's asking on the chat.
Oh yeah.
So that's absolute gold. We'll send it over. We'll get it over to Kyle, and Kyle can blast it out. So
yeah, here. This is what I do here, and then I'll go into the other thing. I have a clipboard. And I print these out, and I fill them out every night until I create a journal. I'm looking at a few different companies to create a nice journal, but for now I just print them out. That's what I've got for you for now. And then going into putting it into your schedule and writing things out. I've got a friend who says, "Oh, I remember everything that I need to do. Don't worry about it." And I mean, I can't argue with him because he doesn't see it. But I don't want you to be that. I don't want you to be that person. You need to write things down. You need to write things down. Because without writing your priorities down, you're living a life just kind of like, just to live a life. And I don't think you want that. And that's all I've got for you today. So hopefully I hit home with you.
I got a question, something that I'm sure everyone wants to know. I've been waiting 56 minutes for this one single question. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
Please tell us who signed underneath your hat, and or what does it say?
It says "Live Lucky."
Yeah. There you go. I can go to bed tonight now in peace.
There you go, buddy. I love it. Good question. Good question. All right. Anybody else have any questions? I got about 3 minutes before the webinar, so shoot.
You know that I've seen Tony Robbins wear that brand. Does it represent something, or it's just?
You know, it's just a brand that a lot of people love because it's just saying, you know, instead of living a life kind of haphazardly, you're taking it on and saying, you know, luck's on my side. I create my own luck based on the opportunities I take. So good question. Whoever asked that one. Didn't see it. Perfect. Good question, Jorge. All right. Anybody else got anything else? Going once, going twice. Luther?
Unmute yourself, Luther.
Hey, interestingly enough, if we do everything that you spoke about on this webinar, we get luckier.
Dude,
right?
You know, people don't believe it until they actually do it. And then things start falling into place years later. And you look back and you're like, wow, it all started with this one moment where I decided to take a small action that accumulated and compounded over the years. That's it. But you can't ever stop. That's the only thing. You can never stop. Once you start, you can never stop.
Then ever. People start calling you lucky son of a gun.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. So funny. I love it. Tristan.
Hey, David, I think I speak for everyone. Yeah. You know, let's all give Tristan a huge round of applause.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the opportunity of being on. And I'll send everything over to David. David, I've got, let me remember, the morning and evening routine, and then what else did I have?
Goal sheet. What was the one you had where you set up your goals and writing down?
Yeah, the
action
blueprint.
items and the goals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send both of those.
I think you're sending everything you own, everything you have.
That's right. Hold on, let me put that in my notes.
All right.
That's good.
Thank you guys. Thank you,
back
Tristan.
next
Thank
month.
you, David. All
Thanks,
right.
everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Oh,
Kyle.
Luther, podcasts. Hold on.
Ah.
Good answer. Good question. Let me grab. I have these all saved here on my Trello board. So give me a second. These are the ones I circulate through.
Yes.
Podcasts. There they are. Okay. Tim Ferriss. I listen to Tim a lot, but Tim Ferriss are like 2 hours long. So just be careful.
Yes.
Harvard Business Review has like 6 different podcasts. So I alternate between whichever one looks interesting. And there's one named Farnham Street. Let me write that one down for you because I don't think you'll know. You'll probably forget that one. Farnham Street.
Yeah, writing them down.
Yeah, Farnham Street. Take a look at that. And then one that's a little different is Brené Brown. She gets emotional, but she's so emotionally intelligent, just like socially. She's a really she's a psychologist, but she brings in a lot of awareness into our business, into our world. She's really good. So those are the ones I would recommend. Some of them are just super intellectual and business wise, like Harvard Business Review. There's no reason you shouldn't be listening to some of those. Those are absolutely gold. So take a look at those.
Thank you, Tristan.
Thanks for reminding me, Luther.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you guys. See you next month.